Well, today was just, I don't know, wild. Like a lesson in just letting your winners ride. So today was a day with two trades. One was a loss of $1.75, and then the other trade was a win of 451. And it was just letting the trade ride through the entire move. I'll show you how it moved on the QQQ and also where I got in on the dollar. Like looking at that, I could see where the dollar kind of topped out, and then as the dollar started to push down, that's where I had entered to the buy side on the QQQ, put my stop loss right below a level that I believe was like a structural level on the QQQ, and I would have lost $100 if I was wrong, and since I was right, I made $451. So let's get into the trade today. So the first trade was to the sell side, so I was actually wrong because I could see that and I'll show you on the dollar, the dollar was like moving up, but then it kind of broke down when it hit a level, right? So let me show you. So at 9:36, you remember you -5 from this, and you get the exact time that I entered this trade. So at 9:36, I entered to the sell side on the QQQ with 125 shares. So this is Friday. Yeah. So Friday at 9:36, I entered at 29278. 29278. I'm gonna have to make it a little bigger. So 29278. So right here, let's get it a bit bigger. So I decided to wait a little bit today, just because of yesterday was very like whipsaw, and I wasn't very happy about the whipsaw yesterday and the day before. Right? So we entered at 29278. So I waited a little bit for the dollar kind of to break up at 9:30. So at 9:30, you can see on the dollar, it kind of started breaking up, and then I kind of saw it rejecting here, and then it happened to push down. So when it pushed down, I was like, okay, let me just get out of this trade. So you can see at 9:38, which is part of the 9:35 candle, just that big push down, that big rejection, it honestly kind of scared me. So I was just out of the trade. Decided to get out of the trade at $1.50 loss. So I was like, okay, it looked like it's gonna continue rejecting that way. Let me probably flip my position, right? So at 9:39, so I'm guessing when it really started to push down, that's when I entered to the buy side on the QQQ. And let me show you where I exited on the first trade. My apologies. So at 9:28 is where I exited at 29277. So I entered, exited like a point different from where I entered on this trade. So it was like a clean get out right there. So the second trade was I entered to the buy side at 29309 on the 935 candle. So 935. 935. So a 935, 292, 29309. 29309. Okay. So I entered to the buy side here. And let me make this a little more clear. So this is where I entered to the buy side, right? This is where I entered to the buy side with 125 shares. And I'm looking on my phone here where I created the stop loss was at 29250. So I had my stop loss at 29250. So below here, so the max risk on this trade was $100 that I could have lost if the trade had went against me. And then I was looking for it to actually come all the way up to here, which is 29945. So if this trade had went the way I wanted it to go, it would have been a $700 trade. However, it didn't move like that today for some reason. So at some point, I ended up taking a little bit of the profits, and then when it got close to the end, I took the rest of the profits. So, but this was ideally where I wanted it to come up to 299.45. Reason being, if we had a strong movement to the downside on the dollar, I would look for the QQQ to continue going up and hitting like a next high resistance level. The same way that Bitcoin is at $23,000 now, just the dollar going down and just all of that macro and economical, just people playing equities because of the Fed's stance, because he might be lowering rates or going less aggressive on interest rates. So equities are going to start moving up, right? So where I sold was at, see, -5 from this gives you at 253. I sold after buying here. So I bought here. This was my stop loss, and at 1253. 1250. So this is the 1250 candle. I sold at 29644. So exactly right there, I sold 100 of the shares. So this is where it started to look like it was going against me, and I could see. Let me see. I saw it break down here. You have a doji candle, and then looks like it was gonna push back up. So I decided it's not worth it. It had a good amount of profit. Let me sell some, and I didn't really care what happened to the rest. I left 25 shares plain for the rest of the day. So this was where I sold 100 of shares for a profit of 333, and then at 342 I sold the other 25. So let's look for the 340 candle. So at 340, right around here is when I sold the other 25 for a profit of 199, and it was very close to the top there. So I sold it at 29744. So my thing with that is that I expected the market to come all the way up here. Since it wasn't moving up with that amount of strength, and we're at 340 already, I'm not thinking the QQQ is gonna move an additional $3 to the upside. Like, that's kind of unrealistic for me to believe that. So I sold it out at 340. I believe that was probably the most I was going to get out of those 25 shares. So it was not worth it at that point. But for the majority of the day, the DXY or the dollar index was bearish. So I expected just a bullish movement on the QQQ, and it turned out positive. It's a good thing we looked at the chart yesterday, because yesterday really showed me that if I had paid more attention to the chart, I would have seen how the dollar and the QQQ were really moving, and not just set and forget and not look at the chart and not see the opportunity. So today was a good lesson in just letting your winners ride, and just let it ride to the end, take some profits, and get it off the table. So it was a good week overall. Um, I'm looking for a better week next week as well. We're just gonna employ the same strategy. Not gonna change up the position size, and just let us see the consistency. Just consistent. But let's just work on that. So the dollar is moving down now. We're at a low 101.92, and this was the same number that hit last week, and it just came right back around. Even though the week seemed kind of choppy, the dollar was down from the start of last week, but the QQQ was just like getting, like meeting where the dollar is at now. So Bitcoin is at $23,000 now, after just moving down. Now we're coming right back up. The moment we heard about the CPI kind of coming down, people expecting the Federal Reserve to the 0.25. So the next bit of news is literally, if the Fed does 0.25, the market probably continues rallying. If the Fed does 0.5, market might be a little shaked, but the good thing and the positive thing is that the market doesn't believe like companies are going to be operating in a financial condition that they're not expecting. So it's going to get to a point where the Federal Reserve kind of stop hiking rates, and the money, like companies flex around and start to just get profitable because they know an exact amount that they're going to be paying in interest. So if Amazon is just paying, let's say 7% in interest on something as a loan, and they're paying that amount and they can adjust for that amount, if there's any loosening of financial conditions, Amazon makes more money because they're operating in a high interest environment. So it's a lot of upside from here. The only thing we don't have is a lot of government buying and Federal Reserve buying of equities and mortgages and loans and bonds. But it's just normal people buying right now. So let's see. Next week is gonna be start of February as well. Let's hit it good and just pay attention to the strategy. And I hope this video provides some value to anyone who actually watches to the end, and you can see what I'm playing and what I'm exactly trading and how it is working out. All right. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.